Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking something incredibly fascinating right at the intersection of cutting-edge tech and complex institutional research. We're going to dive into exactly how technology transfer offices, the folks who literally turn academic discoveries into real-world products, can take all their scattered data and transform it into a streamlined, high-speed pipeline using a system called PactAlign. So, if you've ever wondered how massive research universities manage their IP and negotiations without creating, just a massive administrative traffic jam, well, you are definitely in the right place. Okay, let's just dive right into the core problem here. How do you actually automate agreements without exposing unpatented research to the public internet? This is the massive keep you up at night bottleneck for university IT and TTO directors. Because on one hand, manual contract review is painfully slow, right? It takes hours just to read through dense term sheets. But on the other hand, simply copying and pasting sensitive, pre-secured IP into a public AI model, that is a massive risk violation. You absolutely cannot expose unpatented discoveries or your confidential negotiation strategies to public training models. It's just a complete non-starter. To see how this is solved, we are breaking down PactAlign's 6 core workflow capabilities today. We'll cover 1. Securing your intellectual property, 2. Generating agreements from text, 3. Redlining with approved language, 4. Querying historical deal terms, 5. Preserving institutional memory, and finally, 6. Driving consistency across TTOs. Starting off with Section 1, Securing Your Intellectual Property, focusing on the glass-host Black App architecture. Now, the crucial point here is that PactAlign operates entirely within an air-gapped local environment to safeguard those unpatented discoveries. What glass-host Black App actually means in practice is that the institution's IT department keeps full ownership, visibility, and administrative control over the host hardware, while the proprietary software operates securely inside a localized container. So this means zero risk for pre-secured IP. The system literally runs locally, often on something as simple as a Mac Mini, without ever sending your sensitive, high-stakes negotiation strategies out to the cloud. And the deployment reality is honestly pretty fascinating. Because, the major fear with any new system is always that dreaded, soul-crushing migration project, right? But PactAlign securely connects with your existing document and IP management systems like Wellspring, TechTracks, or SharePoint using a read-only watchdog script. It just monitors the network drive where finalized agreements are stored, completely passively, which means absolutely no behavioral change is required from your licensing officers. They just keep clicking save, like they always do, and the system invisibly ingests and vectorizes all that knowledge right in the background. Moving right along to Section 2, Generating Agreements from Text, or turning noise into standardized contracts. What's super interesting here is how PactAlign transforms raw, unstructured information, like, say, a really messy email chain or a quick bulleted term sheet, into a gold standard agreement. Instead of tedious manual data entry, your officers follow a really fast 4-step automated workflow. You just click Generate, upload the raw text, and then the system's deterministic engine automatically extracts the commercial variables. We're talking entity names, royalty rates, milestone dates. You just review them in a clean interface, click Execute, and it instantly maps those exact values perfectly into your institution's specific, pre-approved templates. So a process that normally takes an hour of careful drafting, it's done in literal seconds. All right, let's dive into Section 3, Redlining with Approved Language, featuring one-click substitution for adversarial risk. There is a massive, massive contrast at play here. Reviewing third-party paper and hunting for those hidden compliance traps is traditionally the biggest, most agonizing time sink for any TTO. PactAlign takes hours, sometimes even days of manual auditing and turns it into a 2-minute automated triage. When you spot an anomalous indemnification or royalty clause, you don't have to rewrite the whole thing from scratch. You just click it, select a pre-approved historical variant from your institution's playbook, and hit Save Replacement. Boom! The system exports a native Word document with flawless track changes red lines already built right in. And the real magic behind that one-click fix is this concept of directional risk analysis. See, standard contract tools, they just look for basic keywords. But PactAlign actually understands directionality. It can catch deep, hidden structural traps, like a reverse reach-through, or an innocent-looking material transfer agreement subtly assigns your university's future lab breakthroughs to a corporate partner. By understanding that the financial or IP liability arrow is pointing back at the university, it immediately flags the text as unacceptable and lets you pull that pre-approved fallback language instantly. Next up is Section 4, Querying Historical Deal Terms, Leveraging Your Cumulative Negotiation History. Imagine you're gearing up for a really major negotiation. A junior licensing officer can now simply type this exact natural language question into the central chat bar. What has Merck agreed to in the past about confidentiality? Because the system has been quietly reading and structuring your legacy documents locally, it can instantly retrieve past precedents without any cloud latency whatsoever. You are basically giving a brand new team member the strategic insight of a 30-year tech transfer veteran entirely on demand. The system actively reads through the transaction ledger and returns highly structured historical metadata. It pulls up exactly what concessions were previously made and what specific royalty ranges were accepted by that exact counterparty. By serving this up instantly, it completely eliminates information asymmetry before you even pull up a chair at the negotiating table. You know exactly what the other side is willing to accept simply because they've accepted it from your institution before. Let's look at Section 5, Preserving Institutional Memory and Creating a Permanent Digital Asset. Take a good look at this number, 5. I really want you to focus on this because it represents a massive operational shift. The entire PactAlign platform isn't just one static database. It's anchored around 5 core daily tasks that continuously compound in value to build up your office's permanent digital memory. These 5 workflows, generating agreements, reviewing and redlining, interrogating policy, auditing precedents, and summarizing complex documents, they all run natively in one localized platform. Every single time a new agreement is signed or a new successful clause is approved in the review pane, it feeds right back into the central playbook. This means the knowledge always stays with the institution. When your veteran staff retire or maybe they transition to new roles, their decades of hard-earned expertise don't just walk out the door with them. They are permanently embedded directly in the system through these 5 daily actions. And that naturally brings us to our final operational feature, Section 6, Driving Consistency Across TTOs Through Unified Playbooks and Standardized Workflows. Because every single licensing officer, from the absolute newest hire all the way up to the director, is querying the exact same localized knowledge base and utilizing the exact same pre-vetted clause dictionary, the results are pretty incredible. Institutional decision-making becomes completely transparent, totally consistent, and actually scalable. You prevent those accidental concessions on firmly held terms because, well, the system simply won't let a known bad clause slip by without flagging it against the unified playbook. It takes isolated silos of individual expertise and transforms the whole shebang into a single, cohesive commercial pipeline. So, I'm going to leave you with this final thought today. Take a quick moment to think about your own institution's agreements, historical precedents, and policies. Ask yourself, is that incredibly valuable knowledge currently trapped in disconnected silos, buried in email chains, or just living in people's memories? Or is it flowing through a secure, automated pipeline that actively accelerates your breakthroughs? In the world of technology transfer, your institutional knowledge is hands down your most valuable asset. It's time it actually functioned as an everyday operation. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer,